Hello and welcome, and today I'm making a video on how to get to Cylero the correct way, which is a home and transfer window, I think. Anyway, so I was doing research online and I finally found an equation. Well, I didn't really find it, I kind of had to put a bunch of different equations together, because none of the ones that I actually found on the internet would work. Anyway, so the variables you're going to need is one of the planet's height, the other planet's height, the first planets, the origin planets, orbital period in days, and the destination planets orbital period in days. And here's the equation. You're going to want to plug in the variables, but if you're like me and you don't like doing algebra, I do have a list of all the transfer windows that you're going to want to use to go to other planets. Right now, the one I'm going to use in this video is Cylero, the one on top, which is this game's version of Mars. Cylero should be 44 degrees in front of Drew, kind of like in this picture. And for your transfer burn, you want to put it about 45 degrees counterclockwise from the front of the planet. The purple line is the orbital line of the planet, and in this picture the sun would be down, just to give you some context, because if you were to put it on the other side, you would go down, and right now there's no planets below Drew, so that would be pretty useless. And that's basically what your ejection burn should look like. Alright, with that information in mind, I think you should be able to go to Cylero, and right now I'm sending a rover to Cylero as kind of an example of how to use this. So as you can see, I'm time warping to the transfer window, which I'm just going to be eyeballing for now. In KSP you can use a lot of mods for this, but right now there's no mod support for SR2. Maybe in the future, I don't know. But here's my all-powerful beast of a rocket. It's way overpowered, even for Cylero or anything. But let's bring you over to Cylero, and I don't know, I guess I just thought it would be nice to have a lot of extra fuel. Anyways, it might look like a short and stubby rocket, but actually each booster has 8 apex engines. Yeah, 8 apex engines, which are the big ones, the really big ones. So I think this is about as big as a rocket can really get without being completely useless. Yeah, the ascent and orbiting isn't really too special. I'm sure you already know how to do that because there's a tutorial in-game to do that. Alright, now that we're in orbit, I just wanted to make sure that I was on the correct transfer window. Anyways, basically for your transfer burn, you want it to be 20, like I said before, you want it to be like 25 degrees away from your planetary orbital line, or whatever the term is. So you want to have your apoapsis a little bit below the Cylero orbit. You don't want it to be right there, because right at the Cylero orbit, because the planned burns aren't always very exact or precise. But and you're gonna have to do a lot of maneuvers to kind of get a close encounter with Cylero before you get there, which is why interplanetary flights are so much more annoying and hard to do. Anyway, for this I'm planning to do the majority of the burn with main booster. I wasn't planning to do that. I have like 56 engines on my Pixie stage and like a really big fuel tank, so I could have done that, but you know, I guess it's better to do it this way. And there goes my main booster in the second stage. As you can see, that's like 50 Pixie engines, 56 or something. I don't know, but it's a lot. Just to put in perspective how overpowered this rocket is. I'm kind of proud of it. It took a long time to do the staging because I had to like separate all the engines. And, yeah. For some reason my node was deleted right now. I couldn't figure out why, but I just kept burning, and it seemed to work out pretty well. I decided to kind of fast forward this part for the sake of you, the viewer, because it's just a lot of time I'm playing with nodes, playing, radio in, which is facing the sun, and radio out, which is facing away from the sun. And when I got a closer encounter, I would delete the node and just do that manually. Usually, sometimes I actually did the node, but mostly not, because again, nodes aren't the most precise things. You'd think with Autoburn they would be, but they're not. Anyways, yeah. Also, if you look on the orbit, you can see like an up and down arrow. That's when your orbit dips below the orbit of your target, which is Cylero. So while you're doing your while you're playing with your orbit, you probably want to do that. Honestly, I was playing with everything except for this. I knew what to do here. You just want to point up and burn. But for some reason it wasn't working, so I kept like playing prograde, and retrograde, and up and down. Eventually, though, I did get it to work. I believe that's all you want to do, just try and get the closest encounter you can, just by playing with that. So as I entered the sphere of influence of Cylero, I realized that I would have to land on the night side the way I was going, and also my apoapsis 2 had to slow down. But I actually realized this when I was too close to really switch sides of the planet. So that kind of complicated things, but luckily I do have a lot of excess fuel. feel like the sounds on the time warp sounds really weird. Like it sounds like a raccoon. Actually, no, it doesn't. I don't know. It just sounds weird. It doesn't really even sound like anything. The music, though, it always sounds like it's supposed to be played at a higher speed and pitch. Like it sounds like it's going to be played like this. Anyways, I had a lot of excess fuel, so I decided to do a retrograde burn. Even though I did have to play with the Tinker panel to make this a heat shield. I didn't decouple the lander until too late though, or the rover until too late now though, for that time, so I just reloaded. Anyways, this is the second try. Sorry about the lag. It was pretty laggy on my computer too, but it just crashed because I couldn't get it to stabilize. This time I deployed the parachute at 30,000 feet or meters, and that worked out pretty well. I was able to stabilize before it hit the ground. So I also quick saved while I was in the atmosphere because I was getting pretty sick of having to warp around and do the retrograde burn again, and all of that. Again and again. And that is pretty important to keep saving and saving. I mean, I've probably gone to Cylero like 5 times, which isn't that much, but it's enough to probably know what I'm doing. And I still have to quick save a lot. I did learn while I was trying to land this that it wasn't very balanced. I did check like the views for the center of mass and center of thrust and all, but it looked like they were aligned, but apparently not. Anyways, I got pretty lucky, but I did put shock absorbers on their wheels, so that's why they're not destroyed. So do remember to do that if you're ever building a rover. And we're somehow landed in almost fully intact except for the 2 engines that I don't even need anymore. For some reason the parachutes don't cut automatically. I don't know if that's just a glitch or some weird feature. Also, I learned the engines were like going sideways or whatever. I don't know. It was being weird. Anyways, and also the rover doesn't work too well in low gravity apparently. It just flips around. Eventually I did figure out that if I just keep the throttle at like 17% and then use the brake as use the brake to move forward and slow down and all that, I can actually get it to work and not just flip around. But it's still really hard to do. Anyways, I'm basically gonna leave it at that. Oh, that's how you get a Cylero.